Give me just a minute, and we'll start with this game. That'll work. Hold on, just making it so we can find what I'm playing. Alright. Okay, so instead, we're going to be looking at Hardspace Shipbreaker, as long as everything's going good. So today we're looking at Hardspace Shipbreaker. I have already started this campaign adventure. It doesn't mean much to start farther on in, because then I just get past all those small ships, and we can actually look at some of the bigger ones. Game is really good. I've been very happy with this game so far. And they just had a big release. April, I think it was. And they redid the story, they redid some of the ships. So we'll take a look at this and see what it looks like. And let's check out the game. Now, we have a couple different ways to play. We can look at the career, which is the story mode. You also use that to level up your equipment and your ranking. You can see up here I'm a rank 6. Okay? And this is the latest updates from the game. Updating ranks and storylines. See, we have storyline through rank 7. After that, the storyline doesn't exist. But they're working on it. You know, they're constantly working on this game. It's very good. For the free play, it's actually kind of nice because any ship you have unlocked, you can check out. Like, I think I'm here. I don't think I've got the fuel or the heavy cargoes yet. The Gecko series, I don't think I'm that far yet in the game. But you can try any of them at any time. The weekly race, I'm not going to do this, but this is actually kind of a cool idea. They give you a ship the work order that you have to do. These are the required items to salvage. It tells you how long you have to salvage it, in this case 30 minutes. And how fast can you do it, what the total value is. And then they give you payouts based on how well you do for the leaderboard. I haven't done one of those yet, and those are the ones that I probably won't do on stream because they require a significant amount of concentration to do quickly. And you don't want to do that while you're, I think my camera's off. You don't want to do that while you're trying to explain what you're doing, because it do require a lot of work. Now, if I decide to do the weekly race, I'll definitely, and I do well, definitely, I'll record it if I decide to do it. And if I do well, then I'll post it, but I haven't decided yet. But I'm going to do career, because I'm only rank 6. And there are 30 ranks, which means I don't have access to everything yet. Somewhere around rank 10, I think it is. And I can tell you that when it comes up. So, good morning, Shipbreaker. They call it a Shipbreaker, but everybody in the game calls you a cutter, so, hey. Okay, so, took my equipment. Nothing's broken. I am going to repair my gear. Repair. Yes. Repair. Hold on. Repair. Yes. So if you look at different equipment, you can see there's different upgrades. And they go up to like levels 29, 28. I think level 30 is the highest. And there's other things you can pick up along the way. If you notice, I have of these LTs, which is these LYNX tokens, which you get for completing different tasks. I have 101. I need, for this one, like this one here I could buy, but I need 300. And you get a certain number of LYNX tokens for every requirement that you achieve. So I can't buy anything for those, but we can go on from there. Data recovery, this is if you find encrypted data files. I haven't found any messages. These are your normal daily messages and weekly messages for the storyline. Certification. So there are 3 levels of certification. I'm currently a 6. And if I get up to rank 10, I can have the highest class of certification at the moment. It's not that big of a deal. It just takes time to do. And up here in the upper right corner it tells you how much debt I currently owe. So I currently owe them 1.2 billion, and my starting debt was 1.35 billion, I think it was. So I've made some pretty decent progress on that. Stickers, these are different stickers you can put on your suit. We're going to start a shift. We're going to pick a new ship. So it always starts with the highest grades you're eligible for. So I need rank 8 in order to unlock this one, and rank 10 in order to unlock 7s. Ow. So it does go to rank 20, according to this. Of course, the other screen didn't show that, so they're not quite updated there. So rank 20, you need level 28 ships. That's good for future. And it starts here with rank 1, the cheapest, easy ones. But we're going to do a 5. Let's see now. There's a lot of information on these screens, so it's kind of tricky. These are all miracles. They're all mackerels. Except this one here is a light cargo mackerel. And these three are heavy cargo mackerels. And if you notice, a couple of things. One, it gives you the owner, it gives you the hazard level. Higher the hazard level, the more chances of you dying or being injured. The total mass, the total value if you were to do 100% salvage. The systems that it currently has available. So, class 1 reactor, it has fuel, it has power cells, it has some thrusters. This one here has some fuel and the reactor, and has some thrusters. This one's got power cells. The more expensive ones have more components that you have to worry about. I think I'm going to go with this one here. This one looks the most interesting of the group. And you don't have to keep running a ship until it's empty. You can, if you want to, work out a shift on a specific ship, and then if you've got like the majority of the good stuff out of it and it's just like a hot shell or whatever, you don't really want to pick it apart, you can always throw it away and grab a new ship. In these small ships, that might be something that might make sense early on. But when you get later on into the bigger ships, hold on, I gotta disable my controller. Otherwise it'll mess with the game. When you get to the larger ships, there's a lot of things you can do. Let's see. What? That is a fuel tank. On the front of the ship. Can I extract it? Let's get rid of that. Put that goes to the barge. If you notice, it will say green is barge, blue is processor, and red is furnace. Each of these components goes to a specific spot. So the fuel went to the barge. This goes to the processor. The glass back here goes to the furnace. Now, I rarely dismantle glass. I find it to be problematic. Alright. So this thing's probably pressurized. Yeah, it's pressurized. The scanner allows you to see some stuff, but hold on. I have the wrong sounds. Ooh, what do we have here? We have some stuff. So here's a data drive. This I can actually take home and decrypt later. Alright. So what we want to do is we actually want to depressurize this whole bay. But we have to make sure that we depressurize it the right way. Okay, so this front area is pressurized. back area is pressurized. But if I disable the regulator.
Air pressure level decreasing.
Okay, that's not good.
Air pressure level increasing.
Because if we depressurize the room, the other room won't depressurize. Whoa! Okay, that was unexpected. Well, it's depressurized. We got lucky. I think my suit's damaged. No, thrusters are okay.
Pressure levels increasing.
They're just...
Airlock pressure levels dropping.
not working properly. Alright. So this on the wall, this is a thruster fuel. So that's good for later. And that's a furnace. So what we want to do is clean out this bag. Best way to do that is to break these. Right here. By breaking these, I can release the lower panels. This is on a barge. Oh, I see. See, it's got these little clamps right here. You gotta break those too. And you don't want to damage it. Now, we did accidentally do that whole depressurizing thing, which we didn't want to do. And this is showing that it's got a key somewhere, that the fuel is active in the system. Now, we can go through the effort of trying to find the key. Though, considering I just blew the I blew stuff all over the place, it may not be easy to find. However, I'm going to use my thrusters to come down here. And if it's too hard to move,
your oxygen reserves are dropping below statistically.
You can bring down does this have any oxygen in it? I didn't see any. I'll have to go get some. But you can use the grappler tool and tethers to move stuff around. I'll move some stuff around with tethers in a minute. But I do have to get air. I don't need anything else. So, tethers, we can link parts to parts like this. And then you can link these and tell them to go into the processor. So all these go to the processor, as you see. And they'll just pull each other along. And all of them will go to the processor. Now, in the case of some stuff, like this part here, this is heavy. Wow, this is heavy. And this one goes to the furnace. I thought I was going to be able to push it, but we'll just grab and use a tether.
Tether supplies running low.
We'll use a tether to pull that down. This goes to the barge, so we'll just take that and just sling it down. I've got some lights. Drop them down to the barge. Drop that down to the barge. Drop that down to the barge. Drop that down to the barge. See, I just drop it down to the barge. And it all gets picked up.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
Now, we're just going to strip this out. And I can push. That's one of the options we have. We can actually sit there and
Credits deposited.
push things around. But in most cases, you just want to be nice and gentle.
Recorded. You got 5 minutes left in this shift. Knock out that work.
Some of this stuff's kind of heavy. Like this one here is real heavy,
We were out.
so you want to use a tether
Salvage deposit.
to send that down.
Credits transferred.
These are real light, so we just push them. So we can pull them in and then push them down. And then grab that light,
Secured. Account credit applied.
and then we'll come over here. See what we got over here. Okay, we got this one here. Some more cargo containers. Who knows what's in them? They're probably empty,
Secured. Credits deposited.
but they are cargo containers that we can sell.
Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
And these little lights, these apparently sell well. So remember I mentioned that there was a potential key. Well, we want to find that. And we want to make sure we get these fire hazards out of the way, like this gas can.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
Now in this case, I can move this one, just like the other one that I moved. But in the case of the ones in the back,
Secured. Credits
notice there's a lever on top of them. Right there. And you have to use that in order to disable the fuel. I'm not going to worry about that at the moment. Because what I'm looking for
salvage deposit accepted.
is to see if I can find the key. Okay, there's a power cell. I mentioned those were in here. And
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
let's see now. I don't see the key over here. Let's see. There's the engine. Where's the reactor? There's the side nacelles. Oh, there's the reactor. I was gonna say, where's the reactor at? Reactor's right here on the end.
Your oxygen reserves are low.
That's the dangerous one.
Excess carbon dioxide can cause damage to LYNX equipment.
You want to make sure that you always monitor where the dangerous components are.
Welcome to Venetron 9000. Have a nice day.
Oh, how about we buy some air?
9000.
Oxygen levels stabilizing.
You don't want to have the hazardous things in places that you don't know where they are. You always want to know where the hazardous stuff is.
1 minute left, Cutter. Time to start wrapping things up.
Yeah, I didn't have enough
Wrap.
time. Alright, well, I don't see the key. So I'm going to have to do this a different way. And normally, later on, there's you can get the objects scanner, which I don't have at the moment. And that scanner allows you to find things like keys. But that's okay. So since we have time left, but not a significant amount, I'm going to open the top up, which will make this a little easier to work tomorrow. And then we'll go from there. And that's one day. Now, we don't have much. And the first day, you either make a ton of money or you make very little. In this case, I didn't make very much. So, but that's okay. Because I didn't bring in the engines, I didn't bring in the reactor, I didn't bring in the nacelles. So, my income just barely paid for my daily expenses. And that's fun. You'll have a lot of days like that. However, we have data recovery. So we can decrypt this. And now we have two files. So, Martian sovereignty. And a bio. Portrait of Howard Howie Marshall, founder of Port Olympus. This actually, cool. These stories are the real story of what's going on in the universe, in the world, not what the world government is telling the people of Earth where you are from. And it's important because it allows your character to find out what's really going on. Now this goes to the barge. And it's just by itself because it was just the barge cap. Wow. When I blew this, it went really far forward apparently. Oh, that's a new feature. Apparently every day they clear the barge.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
That's a good thing. That actually used to be a problem. That goes over to the processor. So, in order to fix this, if you notice, I am way forward. I am more forward than I really supposed to be.
Warning, tethers depleted.
Hold that thought. One tether is just going to make this thing go cattywampus. And that's not a good thing. So, what we want to do is we want to actually drag it back.
Welcome to Venditron 9000. Thank you for your purchase. Thank you for your purchase.
Tethers restored.
Towards the furnaces a little bit. Okay, so maybe we need a few more tethers. Come on. Pull it back. Now what we're trying to do...
Caution. Tether supplies are low.
I know! But I'm trying to get these tethers to pull. I may not be able to do this. My tethers may be too weak. Alright. I'm not going to be able to pull this until I lose some weight. So let's worry about the easy stuff first. Let's disable the fuel valves. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take these nacelles and take them off the sides. And we're going to disable the engine. So, that does, and we're going to get rid of this. Is it, why don't make this whole back end a lot lighter? So we're going to go to our tethers. So have 3 left. So we're going to drop that one there. Get rid of the engine. And we're going to get rid of this engine. And we're going to send this over there.
Warning. No tethers
Now we're out of tethers, so I have to go get some more.
Secured. Account credit applied.
It's fine.
Object accepted for processing. Credits deposited.
And if you notice at the top of the thing, the top of my HUD, you'll see that I'm almost to a 1.
To Venditron 9000. Thank you for your purchase.
Tethers restored.
And when I actually hit 1, I'll get some link coins, and I'll get some experience. Doesn't really help my debt, but it does. So we're going to take this actual gas, this engine cap, throw that out. This is a sensor, right? That goes down. There's that red thing down there. That's something that shouldn't be there. But a lot of times, it really doesn't matter. It's not worth financially a lot, so you typically don't worry about it.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
Now this back end,
Credits awarded.
believe it or not, all of this back end is one piece, and the other wants to go to a furnace. So what I can do is take these 4 modules out. That one, this one, this one, and the one down here. And this section just pulls right off. If you notice, there is this section here, all that says processor. And over here, all it says processor. So we don't care. We're just going to send 2 tethers. Just for efficiency. And that whole thing can go to a processor and we're done with it. Now, we can pick up fuel tanks.
Reserves are low.
Valuable object processed. Credit
And just drop the fuel tanks downstairs.
salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
And that gets rid of all of the explosive stuff on the back end of the ship. It doesn't remove all of the explosive items, but it does at least get rid of the ones on the back side of the ship.
Welcome to
And we need oxygen,
Oxygen levels.
ammo can, everything else. So, if you're dealing with a heavy ship like this, you have a couple different ways to handle these side panels. One thing you always want to check is you want to look to make sure all of this goes to the processor. If all of this goes to the processor, then it's not a big deal. But you might have some parts that go to the furnace. And if it all goes to the processor, then it doesn't matter. And what you do is you just start here, take everything off that doesn't go to the processor. So all these little things that go to the barge, just take all them off. Make sure there's nothing else here. That doesn't matter. We'll take care of that in a minute. And then you just take all this out and cut it apart. Oh, don't let that overheat either. Last thing you want is a fire in space. While space is not flammable, your suit is. Your suit does not like when you get it too hot. Now I can get a better cutter later. And that will minimize the hazards. But until then, that's what we have to work with. So there goes that piece. And like I said, all these pieces you can just go straight into
account credit applied.
the processor because
You got 5 minutes left of this shift before they turn the lights out on you. It's better.
we've already taken care of the components that don't go there.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
Now the other side's a little trickier, but not much.
Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
It's really not that bad. Now in this case, you want to pull it off the ship a little bit,
Valuable
assuming you
object
can.
credits deposit.
Looks like it might be sealed elsewhere. So what I'm going to do is we're going to grab that battery and put that downstairs.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
Now this is going to be a little more taxing and troublesome, I think. Maybe not. Because this section is processor, but that's off furnace. These are processor technically, but I'm not going to worry about them. In order to get those off, I actually have to I'll show you. Come on. There's processor. Come on. Come on. Let's go. Ooh. I can pull the ship. That's questionable.
Accepted for processing. Credits deposited.
Grab the fuel canisters. Unfortunately, I can't use the fuel canisters, but I'm gonna use one of them. But if we grab from there and go there, we might be able to pull the ship backwards. Well, that was interesting. Okay, that's new. I didn't know you could do that. That's... Well, it's still bargeable, so...
Processing valuable object. Credits awarded.
Send the time to the barge.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
Now I have 2 minutes left in the shift, and I have about 30 seconds left of it. So, we will go ahead and fix our rotate problem.
Oxygen levels stabilized.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this piece of frame here and see if we can pull the ship backwards.
All right, Cutter. Wrap it up. You got about a minute left.
That's kind of weird. It looked like when I loosened this up, oh, sure enough. Okay, so there's a glitch. Maybe. Not sure. Get in there. And running out of time is not a big deal, because they just end your shift and you go home. It's not bad. We pulled in $1 million out of that shift. We lost a few kilograms of stuff. And if you notice up here, there's a little sliver of pink. That's what I've lost. Not that big of a deal when you think about it. So start shift. Continue on this craft. We're not done with it yet.
Credits awarded.
You know what? Hold on, I'm gonna get some more tethers, because I'm gonna need them. I don't like wasting tethers, but
Have a nice day.
it saved me a trip to come back and get them in a few seconds. Because once I detach this left side, I'm just going to be sending all this over into wherever it belongs. Okay, so get rid of that. Get rid of that. last thing I need to worry about. Be on with you. Now, like we did on the other side, we're going to take everything out of here that we don't need.
Object accepted for processing. Credit deposited.
And then we're going to cut this stuff off. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece here, I'm going to attach it to this piece here, and that piece is going to go in there. And it's going to take those two pieces to the processor. Assuming that actually goes with like it's supposed to.
Valuable object
Most of the time it works that way.
credit deposited.
Now, this is an airlock, so you gotta watch all these little connectors. But you always have to make sure that before you send the airlock wall, the inside and the outside, that you've removed anything of value. So like inside here, this goes to the bars, this goes to the bars. This little section here goes to the furnace. I'm not worried about it. But out here, this goes to the barge. That's a mechanical device. I am worried about that. But I'm not worried about this section of paneling. What I am worried about is making sure that I don't accidentally send something that goes to the barge down to the furnace. So you want to separate this. This goes to the processor. And this you want to separate because that goes to the barge. And it will count both those parts. It'll count the two parts that belong down there and the one part that doesn't. And log them in.
Salvage gains observed.
And that gives us our rank 2. Now when this game first came out, they used to track the types of components. So electronics, mechanical, engines, and so on. And some of that, for whatever reason, they've stopped tracking, which I think is a shame. I think it's still tracking it.
Valuable object processed.
Okay, so that doesn't release. Even though the locks are gone, there must be locks on the front. So I can go through and hack this front end apart, or I can just ignore it. And in this case, I think I'm going to on this side, because that's got that reactor. And I think that's the one I was missing. Good. So now that this is free, I can pull this off and gives me solid access to that reactor.
Warning, oxygen reserves are low.
And let's get rid of this. Whoa.
Warning, no tethers remaining.
Processing.
That's okay, I need oxygen anyway.
Credit awarded.
So it's not that big of a deal.
Welcome to
So oxygen, tethers,
Level stabilized.
everything else is good. Now, first things first, we get this class 1 engine out and be gone with you. Because those things can explode if you can't get them down into
Salvage deposit accepted. Credit transfer.
the salvage zone fast enough. And they try to melt down almost instantly. Now, while we're on this back end, what we're going to do is just going to make sure we have everything cleared off of it. And this particular component is all furnace. So all of this framework and whatnot goes to the furnace. And we now should be able to drag it away from the main frame. Nope, okay. So we do have this cutter, which allows us to cut a line. And that line can be as long as it needs. And that should take care of that. Okay. Take that backwards. So I did get that down. And what I want to do is put you in there. Now I will lose some salvage in there, but it's not worth it. It really isn't. The sections of
Caution.
materials that I've lost just really are not worth the effort to salvage. Now in this case, I've got this thing pointed straight down. There's a reason for that. All of this stuff inside here goes one direction, towards the floor. The lights, those, I can just push them down.
Salvage secured. Account
I can just pull them up, pull them down, and then just push it out of the way.
salvage secured.
Occasionally you get something that doesn't belong down there, but it's not that big of a deal. Thank you.
There's 5 minutes remaining.
Now that's electronics. You do not want to be next to electronics because they spark. But you can give them a little tug. And they'll go straight on down. No big deal. They'll get down there eventually.
Salvage deposit accepted. Credit transfer.
Now what you want to do at this point, I have just the front cab, and I want to see what's left. There's quite a bit of furnace left, so I might break that out. I may not. It looks like a couple 100 kilograms of polite.
Salvage
Looks looks like maybe
Deposited.
600 kilograms. Not worth it. I got 3 minutes. Just let it go.
Valuable object processed. Credits awarded.
It is kind of close on my 3-star, but
Ship salvaged in full. Credits applied to cutter account.
it qualified. So, and it was quite a bit. It was 600 kilograms, but I really don't see when you've already blown it, you're not going to get perfect. There's no point in going through another shift just to cut out that little bit. Of aluminum. Here, I'll show you. I lost a total of... Asteroid shard was destroyed. That said furnace. Maybe it's right up. Okay, anyway. I lost 1 atmosphere regulator. I don't know what happened to that. The aluminum panels, that was that 600 kilograms that I lost. I still got 1.3 million out of it, so it's not bad. And I'll show you in the breakdown in the next screen. There we go. So, I didn't tell you how much you lost with that. I could have done the math, but it's not much. It's only a couple $100K. It's not worth going through the effort of salvaging another day just to get that breakout. So we are getting along nicely. We're going to do a new ship from the catalog. We have an Exolab mackerel, a heavy, a station hopper, and a fuel javelin. Ooh, a javelin. That's worth some money. Alright, let's take the javelin because it's worth the most. These are trickier because you have to take them apart systematically. And you have to be very careful with them. Because if you take them apart the wrong way, you can blow up half the ship. So the first thing you want to do is you actually want your cutter. You want it in laser mode. And I'm going to come down here. And I'm going to cut this one. Go vertical. Cut here. Now, if you notice, this is all barred stuff. And then I'm going to go to normal and cut that and cut that, and then go to tethers and send it all down to the barge. And then try not to get hit. And then we go to the top and do the same thing.
Secured. Account
You
credit
actually
applied.
could tether this in one fell swoop, but I don't recommend it because
Deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
it's a lot of weight, and you also have a lot of risk, especially for this top one, of colliding with the rest of the ship, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to end up damaging components. And they're kind of heavy. As you can see, they're trying to drag these and They're not moving very fast. Come on. You go down. And then you go down. Oh, really? Come on. Let's get you moving. Thank you. And get that out of the way. Now, interestingly enough, this particular ring here, which is our processor, and can't be cut, is floating. It was being held in place by the outer ring. It was being held in place by these big pylons. It's a problem. So let's have a look at our fuel tanker. Whoa. This is there is no fuel. Okay. That makes this a lot easier. Normally, these things have fuel on these pylons. Now, it all goes down to the freighter. These fuel caps and the fuel tanks all go down to the bottom. So it's not bad. But you do have to cut it all apart. I'm going to have to repair my cutter next time I go back in. Because it's already down to 68%. If you notice, I'm not getting as much time out of it because it's overheating faster. But it's okay. We'll get enough. We'll just have to make do with what we got. And just break all these little pieces off. Normally you have to deal with fuel tanks, which can explode if you hit them with the laser. So you end up having to do this very, very carefully. And we don't have to worry about it quite so much this time around, because this one doesn't have the fuel tanks. So it makes it really easy for us, because we don't have that. We kind of got lucky. Now, all we have to do is push this out. Now we need air. So I'll swing over here and grab some more air. We have 4 tethers, that's enough. I guess we could grab some fuel while we're here. It's getting kind of low.
Oxygen level stabilizing.
And I'll deal with the tethers. Well, I want to see something. You want to see if I have music turned off? I do. Yep, save. Should give us something to listen to. Okay, that's real quiet. Turn it up a little bit. I'm just going to grab all these and throw them down. Because, you know, we don't need them stuck to the ship like ticks.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
That should not be turning the whole ship. No, bad. Okay. That turning the ship is actually going to be problematic.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
You don't want to turn the ship like that. You do want to break these off, but you don't want to turn the ship. Throws off your orientation. And when you can't reorient yourself easily, there's the one. It causes an issue. Oh, you know it's gonna loud.
Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
Alright. So let's get rid of this stuff. Alright. Sensor array. This is worth a lot of money. Shit! I just blew that sensor array. I hit the wrong key. See, it's supposed to go down here. Well, that cost me some money. That was not good. So what I was trying to do was this. So I can grab this and just throw it down there. And then grab this piece and set it down with it. And let those go down towards there. However,
Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
I'm gonna have to just live without that for now.
Got about 5 minutes left in this shift, Cutter. Don't
All right.
bite off more than you can chew.
So it looks like when it twisted, it didn't actually twist the whole ship. It just twisted that ring. So that's, I guess, better. Okay, so this back end of the ship looks unpressurized. Okay. It's good. Old soda cans. Some computers. Some equipment. Oh, there's the reactor, okay. Let's have a look at this real quick. So we have the reactor and the engines attached to the back end, but no fuel. That's good. So let me grab these.
Warning. Your oxygen reserves are dropping below statistically profitable levels.
There. Now see, this is split. Because part of this wants to go to the furnace and part of it wants to go to the processor. So what you do is you use your line saw and do that. And this goes towards the processor. And this goes towards the furnace.
Credits deposited.
And that's what you're supposed to do when you find those little modules or whatever that want to go to the furnace
Oxygen reserves are critical.
or the processor.
Contact your plan administrator to add asphyxiation coverage.
Is you want to be able to split off those parts so that you get the most value. Unfortunately, not getting a perfect score because you screw something up, like cutting something in half.
Oxygen levels stabilizing.
We're okay. I don't care at this point if I have small stuff. Now, I do have to be careful because that third tier is really close to the 100% mark. So I have to be careful not to accidentally blow up too much stuff if I want to get credit for my third tier. Can we live without it? Sure. Means basically you have to do one more ship. But the only time I do that well, that stunk, now didn't it? What?
Cutter, we're getting down to the wire. Let's put a bow on this shift.
Oh my goodness. I'm trying to not screw this up. And this one, the last one, beautiful, perfect. No problems. This one wants to be nothing but issues.
Valuable object processed. Credits
Nothing but issues.
material deposited.
Okay, so that takes out some of our issues. Let's get the engine out of here. Even if we don't get it deposited, we're at least going to get it pulled out. There we go. So the engine will be pulled out next time we come through there. But it's okay. So the iron ring was a lot worth, like, the whole day. That paid for the whole day. The pod clamps that was holding onto the fuel pods, normally, or they can be holding cargo containers. But the pod clamps, those are worth half a day. So, and then all this little stuff adds up. So total, though, I got almost 2 days pay covered. And we'll go to our shift again. Hold on, I need a drink. Okay, so we're back. And if you notice over here on the side, it does list the total mass, the salvaged mass, and it has these two values here for the number of days spent and the number of, and the amount of value salvaged. But what it doesn't list, doesn't here, see the next page, does the next page, is that actual value yet. They haven't put that in. I kind of expected that to be in a lot sooner, because it's something they're already tracking day to day. But I guess I just haven't felt the need to put it in. Probably because it's such an easy thing to do. They just haven't bothered putting it in. So again, we're going to continue with this back end. And the first thing we're going to do is, you notice the engine's all the way out now. But we need to attach it from the cap. We'll just slingshot it on down there. And the cap needs to go towards
Account credit applied.
the processor. And it'll drop in there eventually. Now the best thing to do
Processing valuable object.
is to detach this rear end. And then effect repair. Get rid of this reactor. So there's nothing else here except for a few things that go to the bottom. So what we're gonna do is do this. So that's processor, this is our processor. But this will make it a little lighter as well. I'll bring this up and around. And then drop that in there. But we're not going to do that with this yet. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to borrow this and that.
No tethers remaining.
It's the last of my tethers, but that's fine. And that just yanks everything to the back. We're going to take the reactor out and push it out of the way. And that gets rid of the reactor.
Credits deposited. Salvage gained. Reward increasing.
And I have 12 minutes left. No need for air yet. So what we're going to do is just start disassembling this back end.
Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
And I just won't worry about tethering. So these rings are one giant donut that you have to move as a single oomph. It makes it a nuisance. Okay, my thruster's damaged. But that's fine. It's not going to do any real problems. Okay, so this one here, I kind of have to be a little careful with. Well, this is only at 75%. They're not really a problem until you hit about 50%. Kind of like my laser. because it's kind of low. But you can get by with a low percent as long as you're efficient. So this one here is to get out of the way. And if you notice, it still has the latch on it. So we need to pull that off. And then send that to the bottom. And this goes to a processor, so we just have to move it over. And we actually can push this. I usually use tethers just for efficiency.
Warning.
But
Oxygen reserves are low.
you don't need it. And this goes to the bottom.
Processing valuable objects. Credit awarded.
And we'll get some air, we'll grab some tethers.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
And then we'll continue dismantling that back end. This is one of those that takes a little while
Oxygen
because
reserves are critical.
there's so many large components,
Available for purchase at the master jack.
and those large components can be problematic. So it takes time.
Oxygen level stabilizing.
It's not really a concern though. I usually start at the back of most of the ships and just start dismantling it from the back to the front. I always start on the outside and move in, and then you move from back to front, and it's not really that big of a deal. You just have to be efficient when you're doing this. So, one of the things you have to worry about is, did you get everything separated? The answer is probably yes. But sometimes it's hard to tell. So there goes that ring. Looks like I'm not gonna need a second tether, but I am gonna give it one anyway. Fine. Pull it around. And then you go there.
Caution. Tether supplies are low.
I know.
Valuable component incinerated. Penalty has been applied.
See what it did? I lost that whole thing because it bounced the wrong way. That's gonna cost me. Versus this one here, which is gonna go on the right panel. Now it should bounce over. Now, this section is still attached.
Valuable object processed. Credit awarded.
So you always gotta be very careful with how you move these, because the incinerator is hungry.
Tethers depleted.
It's a very hungry device. And it'll do that to you. And it'll cost you a lot of money sometimes.
Alright, Cutter, you got 5 minutes left of this shift.
In this case, it wasn't too bad, but it did cost me probably a couple $100,000. Because what should have gone into the processor went into the furnace. So it's a
Tethers restored.
I'm under fuel. But it's okay. Like I said, it's not that big of a deal because you can always just do one more ship. So it takes you one more ship longer than it took somebody else. Like I said, it's really not that bad. You just have to be careful. So in this case, I actually need a way of pulling resources out of the ship. So I'm going to cut out this bottom panel. By losing some of this. Now I'll probably have to go inside though to attach something from the floor. That's actually very common. In this case, there's a computer desk. Okay. Okay, so this goes to the furnace. I'm just gonna push it. Now, this chair goes down. See that soda bottle?
Raw material processed. Credits deposited.
I can catch it. Too late. It's too far down. This one goes to the furnace. And there should be like that raw soda bottle. That goes to the furnace. Those count, actually, when you realize it. They actually count towards your requirements. These pictures, they all go down. Let's see now. You two both go down, so
Salvage
oops.
secured. Credits deposited.
You go that way. You go to the barge as well. I was trying to do those both at once, but they apparently didn't like me. You like this stuff here, you just lightly drag it down. It's not really worth a lot. So just giving it a little bit of a push to go down, just and it'll get there.
Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
Time is winding down, Cutter. Dig deep and let's
It's not that big of a deal.
Count credit applied.
You just have to push it. There we go. And push that down. And then grab that.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
And see, I'm not worried about that table because this whole section is going to end up in the furnace anyway. So I don't need to attach the table because that's all going to end up in the furnace. But I do want to get all these mechanical parts and whatnot attached, the lights. There we go. I believe that is everything that's not for the furnace or the like. So, as you can tell, that one nanocarbon steel was 3,000 kilograms. And the two that are recycled already was just under 7,000 kilograms. And right here. So it's about 100K that I lost. But so the thruster was worth $500,000. The reactor was worth a third. The computer terminals were worth a couple $100K. The airlock was worth $75K. It all adds up. It all adds up. All these little ones add up. Like these store consoles. You know, I dropped 2 of them down. They were $48K each. The atmosphere regulator was worth $48K. I mean, it's just, you know, it adds. The posters, strange. The posters were $5,000 each, and you'd expect the posters to be worth like, yeah, these little bottles which are worth, you know, 100 credits for those stupid bottles that I threw away. I don't get it. But it tells you how much things cost. They're giving me scrap value on plastic bottles at that rate. Alright, we're going to continue our shift. We're almost to the halfway mark on this breakdown. Now, financially, I believe we are over the halfway mark. Because if I remember correctly, this was like $5.5 million value, and we're already at somewhere around 3-ish. So we're already really, really close to max value. And we haven't even dropped the bulk of the shell. Now that is a fuel line, and if there's any fuel in it, it'll roast us. And we don't want to do that. So what I want to do is that's furnace, that's furnace, that's processor, that's processor, that's furnace. So what I want to do here is detach this section. By attaching this, we'll be able to more comfortably separate okay. We'll just cut the poles. Now, should be able to grab a tether and pull this backwards. And see how this breaks down. So the ring is already detached. And that needs to be attached. So what we can do here is try and pull the ring away. Just give it a tug. No, it's not going to work. Alright, so what we'll do is I'll take this side to there and put another one here just to pull the ring out safely. Now, ring's free.
Caution. Tether supplies running low.
Let's get rid of the ring. Make sure we don't lose that. And now all we have to do is detach A from B here. So let's grab this, let's pull it back a little farther so that we have a little bit of separation here. Because this is processor, this is furnace, that's processor, everything inside's furnace. So, to salvage as much as possible. I'm going to try and stop this from moving. And then, straighten this out. And just cut it off.
Your oxygen reserves are low. Note that
Salvage
excess carbon
destroyed.
dioxide
Please avoid damaging valuables.
And it's still attached. Alright, I'll have to look to see where it's still attached. So I can cut it off. And I have one tether, so I might as well scrap tethers while I'm here.
oxygen reserves are critical.
Yeah, we're okay. Like I said, I'm gonna have to repair my gear when I get back.
Welcome to Venditron 9000.
Oxygen levels stabilizing.
Thank you for your purchase. Thank you for your purchase. Thank you for your purchase.
Let's make sure I have some of those. Because I'm about to use a bunch of them too. And I used a bunch before we started today. So, not knowing how many I used and how many I have left, it's better to have them now. And then find out I didn't need them. Okay. Furnace for you. Furnace for you too. Alright.
Deposit accepted.
So we got quite a few parts pulled away from these furnace components. But we didn't get all of it. So if you use T, you should be able to tell what's still attached. Let's go right here. Right there. That takes care of the processor piece. It looks like I sliced the processor piece in half. Maybe. No?
Valuable object processed. Credits awarded.
That goes in the furnace. There are some lights down here we need to pull out for the barge. But that's not too bad. Those managed to survive. Here. Here's another piece for the processor. That didn't used to happen. It used to be that if you sliced anything in half, and I mean anything, they would, yeah. Alright, we're not gonna bother. Oh, I just attached the wall to the glass on the back side of that wall.
Raw material processed. Credits deposited.
Just take the whole thing with you.
Tether supplies are low.
It's fine. Ooh. What do you got? You are furnace? Oops. You are furnace. Anything else? Oh, okay, there's that table. Apparently it got blown out when it burned up.
Deposit accepted.
Alright, it's a T. T will show me if there's parts not where they're supposed to be. Okay. So this is now free. And this goes to the... So this particular component is one of those odd ones that we're gonna pull off. Because we have a choice. We can either go through the effort of breaking it down, or we can just chuck it in one of the two. That's processor, that's furnace, that's processor, processor, furnace, and so on. But I really need this thing to be no matter what we decide to do, I need it out of the way. Because it's currently in the way of the rest of it. So
Warning. Your oxygen reserves are dropping below statistically profitable levels.
this is our furnace. I'm gonna cut that off in a minute. And then we can go on from there. And we need tethers anyway.
Oxygen reserves are critical. Please contact your plan administrator to add asphyxiation coverage.
So the real question is, do I want to go through the headaches of dismantling all of this? At the moment, the answer is going to be I'll debate later, because I need to disassemble another section. So that I can get this out of the way. Now this is free. And I can go that way. And I can throw that. So I guess with all that furnace stuff, you know what? I'm gonna stop.
Time is winding down, Cutter. Dig deep and let's finish.
Let's just get this out of the way and
Material deposited.
call it a day. We'll just stuff it down the hole and be done with it. Since the majority of it does go towards the processor, and I don't see us, we'll make our 3, unless I really screwed something up. But there's not enough aluminum in there to do that. So that's okay. So today we only actually earned 309,000, and our daily bills are significantly more than that. But that's okay because we earned way more than that yesterday. So your days do balance out, and you do always have a net positive, as long as you don't make mistakes. So we want to go to equipment. Yeah, I need to repair this. Let's repair everything. Now, I do have 300 LYNX tokens, so let's select. Grapple range. I can do that. I can wait for tether amount. That would be a good wait. Scanner mode. Objects. This is the upgrade we want. We really need that upgrade. Especially since we're about to go to the next rank. We're about to I think we get the next class of ship at 7. No. Rank 8. Okay, so not a big deal. Even if we do rank up, we're not going to have any new difficulty spike. You always want to watch that because the story mode at each difficulty, every time we change difficulty levels, they tend to teach you or guide you on how to deal with the new thing. Okay, so object mode. If we look at the object, see in structure mode, you can see if it's pressurized or not. You can see the different components, what they're made of, where they belong, the different areas of the ship. But if we switch that over to object mode, that's an airlock, that's an airlock, that's a chair, that's a cattywampus computer, this pink thing is a data drive, which we can decrypt for information like we did before. And if you look around, you might sometimes find things like keys and such. Now this one's not so much. But in the later models, you definitely want to look for stuff like that. Because keys will allow you to turn off like the reactor or the engine fuel. Things like this.
Salvage secured. Credit deposited.
And by turning off these things, you can... Oh, that one was pressurized.
Your lock pressure levels dropping.
Thank you. Sweet. Okay, so that should be the whole ship now depressurized. And there's a data drive here somewhere. There it is. So now we have that data drive. Hold tab.
Hello, stranger. I can say that because I'm pretty sure whoever finds this, well, I'm not gonna know you, and you won't know me. You see, when I left Earth, I didn't really have anyone to miss because everyone I knew died in the Great Quake. The first one, the big one. Still don't know how I survived. Guess I was lucky. So I thought, what the heck? Snagged the first ticket to Mars I could find. Started out as a janitor. Yeah, humans used to do it before the bots came in. And one day, someone asked me if I knew how to cook. I lied, said yes. Felt bad for the poor bastards that had to eat my mistakes for the first couple of months. Turned out I was a pretty decent chef. Well, I didn't quite leave the legacy I hoped. So few of us ever do, I guess. So I'm leaving this message to you, stranger, in the hopes that it helps you with yours. Just be kind, stranger. Be kind. I spent a lot of years angry with the world for everything wrong in my life. When I should have been just thankful I had a life in the first place. Just be kind. Kindness has a way of coming back around. Catch my drift. Just be kind. Thanks.
I think that particular message is good no matter when or where you are. Alright, so let's get this cockpit broken down.
Oxygen reserves are low.
Object accepted for processing.
Yeah, I'm gonna need oxygen. So let's go ahead and go get some. So yeah, that was actually a really good message. I like that one. That applies no matter who you are or where you are in life. So we need air, we need fuel.
Oxygen levels stabilizing.
I think we're okay on tethers. I got 3, that's enough. Considering I'm not going to use them for a little while. Since I'm working with the cockpit. And most of what I'm doing is disassembling. And most of these parts are small enough I can just push them in to wherever they're going. I can use a tether if necessary on some of the larger parts, but alright.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
But I do need to try and
Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
make sure we get as much of these component parts
Deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
that can get pushed down to the right areas. Push down. Alright, so your processor. There is a furnace in the cockpit, but you know what? I ain't chopping out the glass. Just take the whole bloody thing with you, dude. I ain't worried about it. It actually breaks down into a few more pieces, but I'm not worried about them.
Salvage gained. Credits awarded.
Now, what we want to do is break down the outer shell. And I almost burnt up that, which is not a good thing. That's okay. We'll get there. Getting tool upgrades is really important because when you get the right tool upgrades, they last longer, they're more efficient. You don't have as many issues. Like my biggest issue is overheating. And if you actually, when you get high enough level, you can remove some of that constraint because you can get better tools that don't overheat or break down as often. And that's important.
Cutter, there's 5 minutes remaining in this shift. Get in while the getting's good. We run.
And most of the shift I'm going to spend cutting things apart. Because that's just what you end up doing after a while. You typically have a shift or two that you spend more time cutting it apart than you do actually salvaging good resources. Now, if you notice, there's nothing in this front end except for this top and this bottom, and this is all processor stuff. So I'm going to try and extract these components that go to the barge.
Oxygen reserves are low.
There. Now I can push this out of the way. And that is the pylon. See, that's that pylon that we had earlier. I'll show you in a second. I can actually see it.
Oxygen reserves are critical. Affordable oxygen supplies are available for purchase at the master jack.
And get some fuel, some air.
Oxygen level stabilized.
Switch over to this. And that goes to the processor. But it also has that block on the bottom, which goes to the furnace. And I'd like to chop that off, if I can. And there it goes. So you take a tether, and you two can go that way.
Raw material processing.
Now the way that came off, it implied it
Accepted for processing.
might be removable
Positive.
with the tether. I doubt it, if I can try. Nope, it just happened to cut off nice and clean. Come on. So you go that way.
Warning. No tethers remaining.
You go that way.
1 minute left, Cutter.
And
Things up. We
this rack.
Processing valuable objects.
Oh, it's too heavy. It's too heavy. I have to go get tethers. I didn't think it was gonna be that heavy. It's okay.
Welcome to Vendatron 9000. Thank you for your purchase.
I don't think this front end is still attached. So we're gonna try. Yeah, see the front end's not attached anymore. And because it's not attached, it's gonna take that whole thing with it. And I'll do that tomorrow.
New certification level awarded.
Oh yeah,
Upgrade.
level 7. which means I now can buy, if I had enough points, which I don't, the handheld utility grapple upgrades. There's one of those new, and there's a work suit upgrade that's new. I'm interested in what that work suit upgrade is. So let's have a look at that real quick. Messages. Mom and Pop, to Mega Corp. So it's just kind of a history of this, of the company. Ray Hubs. That was that audio file that we listened to. So they said there was a new worksheet upgrade. I don't see one. Get demo charges at 11. This is the scanner upgrade. Maybe that's what they were meant to say. There's a thruster upgrade. And there's a range upgrade for the saw. Okay, so we got 3 upgrades. It said 2, and they're still debugging it. So it's hard to, you have to keep that in mind. The game is not in 100% release yet, and they're still adding features and debugging previous features. So, but we're going to continue. Today will be the last day on this particular ship, and it will also be, when we're done with this, we'll be finished with the stream, because it'll be about that time. So, what we're going to do here is we're going to throw 2 more tethers over here. And that should take care of the wheel of cheese over here. We'll throw one more just to be safe.
Tether supplies are low.
Now, unfortunately, we only have 10 tethers. You're always low, so. It's just one of those things you gotta get used to. Alright, so there's the light. And there's a
Valuable object processed. Credits deposited.
another barge item.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
That takes care of that. If you want to get as many LYNX tokens as you can for your upgrades, you need to really focus on trying to get at least 3, if not perfect, because rank 1 gives the least number of tokens, and perfect or rank 4 gives the most. So you really want to focus on
Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
trying to maximize when you can get certain things. takes practice,
Salvage deposit accepted.
and
Transferred.
I have never gotten a perfect,
Credits awarded.
or what they call the whole buffalo, or whole hog, tear down. And mainly it's because there's always something that you didn't see or that you didn't feel was worth nitpicking over. So you never get within that last 1%. And okay, so this is loose. It's just attached. Let's see if we can push it up a little bit. There we go. Now that should take care of not quite, but it will
Salvage secured. Account
help.
credit applied.
Alright, so grab this out of the way. Any more
Salvage secured.
here?
Credits
Yeah. That's gonna go down there. There's not one of those power modules.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
Those power cells. And then
Accepted. Credits transferred. Processing valuable objects. Credits awarded.
you just gotta have a little bit of patience. And a little bit of just passive accuracy. See, because like this panel is loose from where I cut it earlier.
Object accepted for processing. Credits deposited.
I need some air and tethers. And then we can just chop out that inner interior and be done with it. So you have to actually watch whether you need tethers or not. Or not tethers, but whether you need oxygen or not. Because they won't always tell you depending on so that was still attached. Now, does that mean this ring is no longer attached and I can pull it off? That would be nice. Be one less thing to worry about. Sweet. Well, disposes of that. That can go in there. this. And then on the inside here, grab that one. Then grab this one. Grab that. And that's a big terminal. See if we can get out this little hole. Oh wow, I'm surprised. I did not expect that to go out that little hole.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
I did not expect it to go out that little hole. I expected it to just get stuck. But pleasant surprise, it fit. See, I'm trying not to have to tear this thing apart. I still might have to.
Secured. Account credit applied.
So I have to pop out like a wall or something. Just trying not to. Because that would just be annoying, because the rest of this I think goes straight to the furnace.
Got about 5 minutes left in this shift, Cutter. Don't bite off more than you can chew.
Nope, we're good. Nope, we're good, Weaver. We just have to get these last few components out of here. And this whole thing's going into the furnace.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
If I actually get that on lights, I will be surprised. Because lights is like one of those things that are so cheap that if a light makes a difference, it's a bad day for you. This will do it though. Yeah, there it goes.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied. Ship teardown complete. Cutter account credited.
Okay. So that's a processor. So we're just gonna slice these off.
Your oxygen reserve.
Valuable object processed.
Okay.
Cause damage to LYNX equipment.
Stupid. Timing. Bad time to need O2. I'm almost done.
Processing valuable object.
Right there.
Awarded.
Oxygen reserves are critical.
I know.
Contact your plan administrator to add asphyxiation coverage. Caution. Tether supplies running low.
Come on, go. Wonderful. Air. I need air. We'll just do it that way. Because that's faster.
Alright, folks, got a priority message coming in from corporate. Everyone, put down what you're doing and have a listen.
Oops, sorry.
They're gonna give us some holiday time. That'd be awesome.
That would be a first. Probably just another Paulson kid getting a cushy exec job.
Hush up now, y'all.
This is an important message to all LYNX Salvage Division employees. It's come to our attention, thanks to a very loyal member of our family, that there has been talk about forming a shipbreakers union. A union is a dangerous thing, where extensive fees are extracted for so-called representation of your workers' rights. At LYNX, our top priority is already your well-being. This is why union activity is strictly prohibited by your contract for your own protection. To safeguard you and your work, we are immediately dispatching an administrator to every salvage sector. This administrator will oversee operations and ensure proper employee conduct. They are authorized to correct worker behavior by any means, and they will remain in place until we can guarantee company-wide integrity. Until then, remember, the company is your family. The union is your enemy. Thank you.
That's funny.
No holiday. Told you.
That's wild. I haven't heard anything about that union stuff. Have you?
Of course not.
Probably happening around the Martian districts. They've always been quarrelsome.
You heard anything like that, Lou?
No. Hey, Weaver, do you know when our administrator will show up?
A week maybe? Coming all the way from HQ at Jupiter Gate. When they get here, we'll need to be on our best behavior.
Oh, great.
Alright, it's nothing to fret about, alright? But they are going to be checking everything. Salvage logs, transmission records, operational efficiency.
Oh, great.
You'll be fine, Kai. It's not a performance review.
Lou's right. Now let's just try to keep our heads down and weather this storm together. Now go catch some rest. See y'all tomorrow.
So in other words, a couple of us could be in trouble.
Don't worry, this is a closed channel. There won't be a log. This really isn't good. They're gonna make our lives hell. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't scared. I'm sorry for involving you. But you need to know I'm not gonna stop fighting. Whatever happens, I'll make sure nothing comes down on you. Lou out.
Lou's one of the ones trying to make a union. And we're just kind of like, if you're interested, here you go. If not, whatever. You must receive. This is the end of Act 1. Thank you for playing. So Act 1 is now complete. At this point, you can continue salvaging as normal through whatever is available, but you're not going to get any more story updates. The disadvantage is when they release Act 2, if you keep playing, you'll get, like, every time you come back in, you'll get a new story element, which isn't bad, but you'll get a bunch of them. If you just stop playing, wait for Act 2 to come out, well, then you have to worry about it. But like I said, this is one of my nice favorite casual games. I really enjoy it. It's one of those that It doesn't take a lot of effort to play. It doesn't take a lot of time. Ooh, I'm close. Okay, I'm gonna save for tethers, I think. I can live without the rest of it for now. Radio. Audio synth 1. Everyone to be able to hear in space. Cutting edge LYNX technology allows your suit to resynthesize audio from nearby hazards in pressurized areas. Improve functionality. The DSP chip to your resynth processor. Tech now runs faster and smoother, and with the range of that extends even further. Okay, so what this is for is if you're in a pressurized area, you can hear when electrical circuits short out, or coolant leaks, things like that. When you're not in a pressurized area, you can't. But the suit can still detect them. So what this does is it allows you to hear that even in the vacuum when it's your sensors picking up what's going on around you. It's a really good idea. It also makes it feel less realistic than it would be normally in space, but more realistic for if you're on Earth. It simulates an atmosphere even when there isn't one. It's really nice. It's not exactly necessary with anything I've seen so far in the game, but it is a little nice to have. I'm actually surprised that it's down here in the work suit when it's not in the helmet. It should be in the helmet. See, I expected this to be in the helmet. This, is the hazard resistance, but I expected the synth to be in the helmet, not in the work suit. Maybe they'll change that. Maybe they'll actually move it to the helmet where it should probably be anyway. Okay. So that is Hardspace, Shipbreaker. Really good game. It's an engineering breakdown game, and it's a lot of fun. Each ship takes between half an hour to break down. And we got through several ships tonight, even with me explaining it and starting late because we were trying to do something else. And that failed. If you want to see more of this game, let me know. There are many more ships later on. And I play it occasionally, so I'll break down some more ships and get some higher ranks. And maybe I'll get up to the last tier, which is 10. But if you want to see more of this game, you want to see more of the different ship types, let me know, and I will schedule more of the advanced ship types when they're available. Aside from that, thank you for visiting, and have a great night. Wrong scene.